Uh, yeah. 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 Yep. What's going on, everyone? Welcome officially back to Rivercity 93. We give you one pod. It was a little teaser. It was a little preseason pod. We are officially back because the season starts in 5 days, and we got bills to pay around here. Or someone is that a Tottenham shirt you got on? Sorry, I just cut my whole intro just to really. Okay, I want you to know, listeners, if you're not watching this live, which you should be, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We had a little pre-show meeting where we just talking around joking, and for the longest, I thought that was just a referee shirt you had on.
Yeah, it did kind of look like a ref top. I realized
I thought that was just a referee shirt.
Nah, it's a vintage Tottenham windbreaker. I promise it's a lot cooler than that.
Oh wow! So okay, I gotta ask this now. Okay, what's the coolest piece of Tottenham memorabilia or merch that you got?
This.
Okay.
Is this? I'm obsessed with it. It is though narrow, like it has an elastic waistband, which means that it doesn't always work in a lot of situations. And I got my dad one, and I don't think he's put it on. So sorry about that. I'll get a loose cut one next time.
Oh, okay. All right. Matt, what about you? What's the coolest piece of Kickers merch you got?
I was gonna say, what's my coolest piece of Tottenham zero. I don't know. I don't even know what I have right now from random Kicker stuff. Probably some random jersey. I don't know.
Okay.
Growing up, definitely had one of those signed like little 3x5s of Rob Ukrop, on the wall in the room. Back when he had the flow.
Oh, I was about to say, is this full-headed Rob or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm old enough that was a time when he actually, had the luscious locks going.
I'm not gonna lie, I do wonder if Rob was choosing to go bald, or because I've always seen pictures of Rob with full hair and then just bald. So was there a period where he was like balding? It was like, oh, I'm going to cut it?
If you look at some photos from like the 2002, 2003 type seasons, you might have your answer.
Okay. Well, we'll figure that
out. We'll extrapolate Rob through the years. We'll put a little photo montage together, track season by season.
Right.
Follicle by follicle.
Right. And I don't know if y'all been following. I don't know if y'all follow wrestling at all, but I completely lost my mind last night when like John Cena turned heel. And then there was a moment I looked at John Cena's hair and I was like, oh, you are bald. And that looking at John Cena's hair reminded me of Hernan with the swoop going this way.
I mean, nothing's quite like that. But we don't need to, rag on, such things. It's completely normal. It's completely, something that, happens to a lot of people.
Oh yeah, hey,
nothing wrong with changing, hairline.
We are on record as a pro bald podcast.
Exactly, because I gave it up. I came to. Also, will barbers charge like 50, 60, 70 bucks? I said absolutely not. Not in this economy with $5. I can't do this.
Yeah. Whether you embrace it or choose to take a trip to Turkey, we do not judge any hairlines on this pod.
There is a joke there that I will not touch.
Oh, please, Kate. We will absolutely judge. It might be hypocritical. It might be mean-spirited. That's what makes it fun.
Yeah. Mohammed Salah, your hair looks wonderful. Please drop your surgeon details.
Yeah. There's going to be some rando we've never heard of from one of these new teams that comes through who should be giving it up, and he's not. And he's going to hear it.
All right. Also, I don't know if y'all heard this, man. You're going to laugh at this. Jake Keegan is still around.
Of course he is.
Like, that man is still around. Just cardio Keegan. The man is looking for a check.
Well, he's I might be getting this reference wrong because, again, old. But I feel like he's trying to play like Pokemon with USL 1 teams, trying to collect them all.
Yeah, right.
His great rival Ryan Sierakowski just retired, so now he's really home free.
I can't remember. I don't even think I gotta look this up, but I wonder how many players are still left from the first year of League One. I don't think there's that many more, but I'll look it up. But yeah, we move on from that. Welcome everyone. Welcome to Rivercity. I can do my real intro now. Welcome to the show. Quick preseason update. Kickers had a preseason game against Loudon. Matt, you was up there. Your thoughts on it? Anything that stood out to you? Anything that was fun?
Can you share the play-by-play? Because I don't think anyone else besides our group chat actually got to know exactly what happened at that game.
Well, hey, Loudon texted the score after telling everyone it was a behind-the-scenes door friendly. But the moment they won, they put it out. Yeah.
No, I mean, you got to pay up to get that access. For all the details.
I like paying. I like
first of all,
Kickers fans.
It was extreme. It was like crazy windy. At that game. So like frequently you see balls just get hung up in the air. Stuff like that. So it definitely affected both teams play different time depending on what direction they were going. So Loudon ended up winning 4-2. It was 0-0 at halftime. So first half it was definitely Loudon with a lot more of the ball. Than the Kickers, which I mean a little bit of it makes
also,
sense there.
Do you know if they started their first 11 or did they rotate the first half? Do you think?
I think it was probably somewhat close to it. I don't know who their whole first team is these days, but it definitely looked like it could have been a first 11 based off of some of the guys I do know out there. And so they had a lot more of the ball. Like the Kickers were definitely I don't want to say pinned in, but pretty close to that for probably 20 some minutes of play. The last 10 to 15 that we were able to get out, do a lot more. But it looked a lot like some of last year's play where our best friend is going to be set pieces. Closest the Kickers came in the first half was Dak got it on the end of a corner and but he headed it wide instead. But Pablo didn't have too many hard things to do in the first half. He had a couple of decent saves, but nothing where you're just like, holy crap, how did he get that done? So all in all, decent first half. Second half was a lot more open. Loudon scored like literally in the first minute. Had I don't know some dude, I don't know who he is. Dribble through like 3 or 4 guys, lay it off, and pretty easy finish from there. Can't blame Pablo on that one. And as I told Elliot in the group chat, I am prone to burying Pablo if I think it's his fault. Which I did for the second. Which I did for the second goal. Because I'm pretty sure he should have done better with that one. The happy parts, a really good counterattacking goal that Kirkland scored, so he came in, as a sub out on the right wing, and so basically, Darwin was able to collect the ball near midfield, really surge forward up the left channel. Maxey overlapped, sent a good cross. Kirkland, powered home a header at the back post. So that was really nice to see. That made it 1-1. I'm not going to worry about the next little bit of time there. And then, right before the end, Emmy scored. That's not necessarily a surprise. Surprise is he scored from like 21 yards out. Usually, the Emmy goals are, you're kind of, 10-yard or under specials. A lot of opportunism happens. Now he, got the ball, had some space, and curled one low, to the far post. Keeper didn't really have a chance. So if he's got those kind of shooting boots on, that could be a good sign, for the upcoming season. Some questions about the defense. I will say that because didn't think a couple of those goals, should have came about.
Okay. Good sign that the first half back four didn't concede. We were wondering if Loudon had rotated, maybe they put the back line under increasing pressure. But if the starting four were able to keep at least a half a clean sheet, that's something.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely positives. Definitely, some things you could see that could be worked on. One thing I will say is if anybody ever gets the opportunity, to kind of sit behind, the Kickers bench, especially in a training environment or even in a nobody's there environment, like it'll probably be Friday at Tormenta. Do it because it is fascinating, to listen to the communication between Darren and the guys on the field, and then Darren and the bench. You definitely pick up a lot about what he's trying to accomplish and what the vision is through that experience.
Did he give you a unique perspective? Like, was he like communicating anything differently, or?
Yeah, I mean, so very direct in communication with the guys, on the field. Who've you know, seen Darren in one of these environments. He's not one to mince words in some of these situations. But obviously you can't hold up but so much of a conversation, from the sideline with guys on the field while the game's going on. So it's trying to get these little snippets in here, but a lot more encouragement than I think you would anticipate. Coming from something like this. A lot of various pieces of praise coming out of good film player name for something, even if it didn't come off. It was more trying to get the systems into place than anything else. I think like his ideal vision would be where the team can be a pressing machine. They're not there yet. I don't know if this is the group where they're going to be able to fully recognize his perfect vision. But I think if he had all the pieces, all the toys that he wanted, that's what we would see.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Fair enough. Any other thoughts on preseason? Because I mean, we were able to be there in person for I think 2 of the preseason games. I know the Crown Legacy result was like 2-1. I think there was another Loudoun game. But yeah, any other thoughts on preseason things that stuck out to you, or any player that stuck out to you?
I wouldn't. I mean, obviously, there were a lot of new players brought in, so they're building chemistry. So you can't like read in a huge amount. And Darren is obviously still tinkering with who he might. This is to get a look at different players and different players playing together to get a sense of chemistry. So you can't necessarily read into it. And for USL 1 teams, there's not going to be a massive difference between like a college level team as opposed to maybe a championship team or an MLS team that might really have a major quality gap and should be expecting to win pretty much every match they play. So tempering my expectations, but last year's preseason was also pretty underwhelming and the season was pretty underwhelming for the most part. So I'm hoping, I don't want to read into it too much, but last season, it didn't seem like a too much more successful preseason than last season. So hopefully that means nothing. Hopefully that means nothing. And these issues will be resolved relatively quickly. But last season, I think preseason looked pretty similar and that didn't go too well.
I think we might have actually done better last preseason. I don't know. It was weird. I think the biggest thing is for me, is nobody got majorly hurt outside of Dak with his club, which has a funny backstory behind it. Dak feels no pain. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. And also, like, we have a healthy Emmy. I think like last year, you could tell like this. Emmy wasn't 100%. He's healthy. Team is healthy. The team is a little bit. I don't know if you would say younger.
Yeah. The main injury is Bill Hart, and Matt Baldock told us at the preseason event that the issue he is struggling with is his meniscus. And I can attest, as I damaged my meniscus last year, that it is a difficult injury because he did have surgery, but menisci, they don't heal. And you reach a certain point where you grind through the cartilage once it gets damaged, and that's it. Your career's done. So they are trying to manage his knee injury. It's not a ligament. It's not something that like will reach a healing point where it's like 100% cured. So it's a little bit of, Matt said he's very frustrated, obviously, because it is a relatively unpredictable injury and it's not one that has like a clear timeline for rehabilitation. So that's the main difficulty, is that ideally he would be on the field within 6 to 8 weeks, but it's a tricky, annoying injury that just doesn't have a full resolution. So
it feels similar to stories we heard last year at the start of the season of, oh, it could be back soon, could be back soon. Different guy, of course, but we've been down this road, right?
Yeah.
And
At
it
least
kind
it
of
wasn't sustained during preseason.
right, yeah. But it kind of leads into what my big takeaway from preseason has been is that this team's success is going to be on really a razor's edge. I think because I think there's a clear top 13 or 14 in the team, and then a precipitous drop. Based on what we've seen, from the preseason. So I think the first team guys can absolutely play with anyone. We saw that at the end of last year, and most of those guys are back, and a couple of what look to be decent additions. But you might be able to slide one or two guys past that into the team without affecting the team too poorly. But you get much past that if we get an injury run, things could get a little testy pretty quick.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's gonna be interesting. See how that goes. I mean, most important thing about preseason is no one got hurt. We can start the season off fresh. Well, I can't say no one got hurt, but
Super sub, mid-season super sub. Adrian
no one's too bad. So once again, listen, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. New thing about preseason is we do have new jerseys. Once again, the kicker switched from Adidas, a longtime partner, to Hummel, and we got new jerseys. So, what are your guys' thoughts on these? These are the cup kits. Now, one thing that I do remember is this is the second time the club has gone to use a jersey to kind of reference the U.S. Open Cup. The first one was, what was it, the 2022 season? If you remember how that season ended with a cup jersey, we were league champions. So there's precedent. But we got these new jerseys here. As you can see, they got a new league font. There's a one for the championship. I like the one for the championship a little bit, but I don't know if you guys have seen it yet. But yeah, these are kind of the details and thoughts on the jerseys. I really like this, the 95 Open Cup and the tagline on the shirt. But yeah, what are your guys' overall thoughts on this jersey so far? This is just away. We can't talk about the home yet because we're on embargo.
I like it. I'll say it. I like it. I think it's a subtle homage to the old logo, and I think one of the issues with Hummel is they sometimes do too much because there's so much creative control that things get, they kind of try to do
Madison.
So much in one jersey that.
Oh my God. No, I ain't even gonna joke about Madison. Have you guys seen the El Paso kits?
Oh my God.
Oh, they are
guardrails. There need to be guardrails on these fucking kits sometimes. Like it's unreal. So I this is like restrained, I think. It's an homage in a restrained, subtle, I think tasteful way. So that's what I was hoping for with Hummel, was like the ability to be creative, but not necessarily to be as
that's El Paso.
To create eyesores the way that other clubs seem to take.
That's not a training shirt or like a pregame.
No, that's the jersey. If you're not listening, if you're not watching on the podcast, make sure if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. But yeah, this is the El Paso jersey. This is the home jersey.
Okay.
Yeah. That's really bad. That's really, really bad.
So you just saying creative control. I just thought about that.
Yeah.
Oh, that is funny.
No, I mostly agree with Kate. I think it works. Like I've very openly said, don't like white shirts, but yeah, this one for a white shirt, it's pretty decent, right? You got the light blue initial flying soccer ball from the OG logo, but it's not too in your face about it. Like honestly, when I first saw it, I didn't realize that's what it was at first. Once I saw it, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So it's one of those sublimated things, but it's also not like too subtle either. Like you see with a lot of these jerseys where it's like, oh, look at this fine stitch detail, woven into, right above the stomach to represent the hunger that the team will have on the field. Or
the slope of the R and the K represent the falls of the James River.
Yeah, so it's not something like that. What I like about these jerseys has nothing to do with the shirt. It has to do that all the pictures I've seen so far also have navy shorts, with them, and I think that makes the shirt look a million times better as a result. Because the contrast that goes with it, it works. So all in all, good there. Yeah, the font, type on the back, numbers out of our control, whatever. I thought they had a very, very good set previously, so they're changing it for the sake of changing it. Doesn't make any sense to me because when they were the right colors, you could read them really easily the last few years.
Yeah, sure. The only thing I would say about the home kit that I wish I could change on all the jerseys is just I wish like the badge was just like you like just stitched on. On here it's kind of just like I wouldn't even say it's pressed on or anything. It's just kind of like part of the shirt.
Yeah.
So like that's my only knockback on it. Outside of that, like it's a good jersey. Like I like it. Represent the past. You have the tagline. That's cool. This is the gold home jersey. That
goalkeeper jersey.
Goalkeeper jersey that Snett is rocking right here. So yeah, you see what I mean? Like that. Like I just wish that was
the whole jersey. Every element of the jersey is screen printed onto the jersey. There's not a single thing that's.
Can you go back to the front of the shirt now? I just saw something that's going to bother me. All right, this one.
Yeah.
Why does the apostrophe in U crops look like a teardrop?
Oh.
It does.
Like because
you playing Bloody Murder, Matt.
Right, I was going to say, our
guys got one for our dead homies.
But I saw it. Now I can't unsee it.
Yeah.
You got one for the dead homies. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. This right here in the back of it. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So those are two jerseys that's been released so far. Overall, I think they're good. Like for a first time with Hummel, I'm not disappointed in anything. I think it's a good jersey. There's still a third jersey we haven't seen yet, but I think that's coming like June, July-ish.
From the conversation, that was the favorite player of pretty much every player, or favorite jersey of every player. They said the third kit was their favorite.
Yeah. So
can we talk about just the slightly ridiculous nature that we've released our secondary kit before our primary?
Yeah, that's because we play.
They know which one's gonna. It's because they know which one's gonna go over best. No dig to the home jersey. It's fine. But this one is definitely better.
I mean, look, we know it like this. We know the kickers, the way how it goes. They play it safe with the home jersey. They sprinkle a little try on the away jersey. And I feel like the third jersey, they give it to like the in jersey and be like, here you go. See what you can do. So
I feel if they could have led with the third jersey, they probably would. But maybe they started with the home one because we're gonna have a home US Open game before the actual league opener. So
I think if they open with the third jersey, they get a lot of complaints because of what color.
Yes, exactly. So I understand the rollout, and I think the home jersey's red. That's all we ask for. It's red.
Yeah, that's it. It's important. Look, as a black man, don't tell me black is red because it's not. I'm not colorblind. Red is red. Just keep it red. That's it. You can, like Matt said, you can try different. You can try a slash. You can try little pinstripes. That's fine. Just keep it red. Don't incorporate no other colors. Just keep it red. There you go. So now what we're gonna do, real quick before we get into this, shout out to Banana because he gave Shanair and Mike. Shanair's not on the show tonight, of course, because he is celebrating the lovely birthday of his wife. Because they're up in Minnesota. I think it's like 6 degrees or something there, so I don't know how you celebrate a birthday in that cold weather. But he wanted to also create the Discord. So in the description down below, there's a link. Make sure you go click on that and join our Discord. It's fun. I think Kate, you're planning a road trip. One, we're planning a road trip to Charlotte, and then two, there are talks of us going to Portland.
We are going to Portland. We are mobilizing to Portland. But yes, everyone come along and join the trip to Charlotte in 2 weeks. Well, Imagine
kickers
you
last
get to
night.
watch the Kickers live before the home opener. You can't ask for much better than that.
That is true. That is true. I unfortunately won't be able to be there because I have to. Yeah.
Why?
Literally explain why.
I have to work that weekend, so I have a second job. Look, hey, someone got to pay. Look, eggs is $5. Okay, folks, I work on a teacher salary. RPS was like, "Hey, we'll pay you $200 to tutor these kids for 2 hours." I signed up so quick. I was like, yeah, absolutely. Will they learn something? Who knows? That's beyond my control. But I'm getting paid
You'll be watching the
$200.
Kickers.
Probably so. Probably so. Yeah, that's beyond my control. But yeah, I think there's like 3 major road trips. Charlotte, of course, that's the closest one to us. Portland, and then I am going to Madison in September. So if anyone want to go to Madison with me, so I'm not the only Kickers fan there by myself, please do. Please
Yep.
come.
Get in the Discord, create a match thread, join the match threads for the existing away trips.
Yes.
Shout out Banana, you are a legend.
Join the Discord.
No one signed up to go to Texoma.
I still don't believe that's a real place.
Chandler O'Dwyer says his mom lives near there, so maybe she'll be repping the Kickers.
Many questions.
She lives there. You're right. She thinks she lives near there because it's not a real place. It's not. All right. So now we're gonna go through each position. I'm gonna ask you guys what's your grade on it. Since I'm a school teacher, A, B, C, D, F. Hopefully no Fs. But we're gonna start off with goalkeepers. So for goalkeepers, we have Mr. Pablo Jara and James Snadden. What is your grade on the goalkeeper position?
I'll start off. I'll go with C+ for right now. I know that there's at least a third keeper training with him because I literally saw him play the end of the game yesterday.
He was
and
there.
At least having that safety valve in case somebody gets hurt, in case Pablo goes and has another kid and is out for another week or two, and then that being the week we get the random red card for a goalkeeper, like when Akira fought the dude back in 2019. That would give me a little more peace of mind if we had more than just 2 on the roster. I think it's safe to assume James will be the presumed starter. A good start to last year. I think now's the time to see was that a end of season kind of just spurt of form? Does he have it over the course of a full season? I mean, he's still 19 years old, so especially at goalkeeper, you don't see too many teenagers pushing your way through, because that's a position where you learn a lot through seeing a lot over the years. So it's a cautious grade. I think Pablo is a perfectly acceptable backup in this league. If he's playing a lot, I'm not feeling great about it. I'll be honest. I think there's a lot of podcast episodes over the years that will back up my stance on that. But that's where I'm right now. I'll say a C+ on the goalkeeping unit.
Okay, Kate.
Yeah, I'll be a little more generous. I'll put it up to a B. But yeah, I think James is, from what we can tell, a lock on the starting role, and we very much overperformed during the back quarter of the season. Lee ran the numbers, and he said we considerably overperformed, and all of our clean sheets, from the past 2 full years, happened under James Snedden. So ideally, he is as talented as he looks, as from the at this point cameo in the scope of how long a career can be. We've seen from him. So ideally, he's gonna drive that average up, and who knows what type of rotation we'll see. I assume we'll see some rotation in the Open Cup. I don't know about the Jaeger Cup, whether or not our experiment with being a cup team that required on goals scored last season did not go very well. So I don't know how much rotation will factor in for cup games. So who even knows how much we'll even see of other keepers if James stays healthy.
Yeah, we didn't really get a favorable draw to Jägermeister in terms of teams. But yeah, that's fine. Goalkeeper, I'm in between y'all, so I'll give it a B-. I think there's a lot of upside with Griffin. I think Pablo is who he is at this point. Um, the issue, the thing I have with Pablo is I think he's an okay goalkeeper for USL League One, but I don't think he'll do enough to take you to that next level. Like he's kind of like a bridge quarterback. You know who he is at this point in time? He's like Flacco. He's a bridge quarterback. Like he's
Flacco's got a ring.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess he technically does too, but Flacco won them a ring.
Okay, he's like Tyrod Taylor. Let's put it like that. He's like Tyrod. You know, like he's a bridge quarterback. He comes in, and he gets the next guy ready when there's like a weird injury. So like, if you remember, Tyrod was the starting quarterback in Buffalo. There was a weird incident. Then comes Josh Allen. Pablo has a baby. Then it's Griffin Garnett. I'm just saying. Gender similarities there. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Unreal if Griffin managed to play both center back and keeper at the same time. Holy shit.
Hey, if we're going to sell him to Europe, we got to make sure he can play everything.
He might yet.
Right. So, yeah, like, I think I was imagining that Sneddon will be the starter. I think Pablo will have minutes. I think he'll play in some matches and whatnot. I think you kind of already know who Pablo is, and I'm more favorable to giving it to James. If they're kind of like at the same level, like go younger, in my opinion, there. So we move on to the defenders. So here we got Guy Franca, Brennan. I'm not saying his last name at all. Griffin Call. Yeah, Brandon D. Griffin Call. He also follows the podcast. You know, I found that out. Okay, is Dak a defender or a midfielder? Because I don't know how to.
I think he's
both. I think he's a midfielder.
He's a midfielder if things go the way that they want them to go.
Okay, because that's all I was going to say. So I'm not going to put Dak in the defenders. Claudicella, Beckett Howe, Griffin Garnett, Maxey, and then Simon Fitch. So how are we feeling about the defenders?
It's a tough group for me, right? Because at the end of the year last year, they obviously stepped it up.
Yeah.
But it's hard for me. So we got, basically 4 center backs available to us, essentially, right? Griffin, Gee,
Clyde, Griffin Garnett,
sort of Dax, sort of Beckett. You know, we'll call it 4 between those two like halves at the end there.
Yeah.
So kind of going among like the main 3, like they're all kind of the same to me. I mean, they have different strengths, different weaknesses, but they're all kind of just the same-ish to me right now. Of mostly good, but can have a moment or two where you're just like, what the hell did you just think? What did you just do? So they're not the biggest worry for me or anything, but at the same time, like wonder what the question for me is: if Maxey or Simon get nicked up at any point, like what's the plan there?
Yeah.
Right. Like, can we count on Simon being an Iron Man again? Can we count on Maxey staying eligible every game again? So like that, like Maxey's getting up there too. Like, can we count on Maxey having the same tank over the entire season? That he's shown in the past. Like, Father Time's going to win eventually. Is he going to, is he going to start to, take some of that, this year or not? So I guess I'll go B, as I'm talking through this, but it's strong, but with a couple of warning signs.
All right, I understand. Kate, what about you? I know you got to cut out soon because you got to watch this Best Actor.
I'll come back, but yeah, they're running behind. I've got the Oscars up on a different screen. I'm at a fellow Red Army member's house. Oscars watch party. But I'm actually going to be more negative. I'm going to go B- because I think center back depth is an issue that's existed in the past. that I don't think is the biggest glaring warning sign, but yeah, outside, left wing, left back, right back. We've got one academy kid and Beckett Howell. Have to hope that there aren't any major injuries. I guess depends on the style of play, whether or not the goal is to have them under an enormous amount of pressure, or whether or not they need to be really, really good on the ball this year. Are we playing out the back? Because I don't know if on the ball they're not necessarily pulling the strings. So, I mean, I think it's fine. I think the group is fine. Simon Fitch is a great defender. Griffin Garnett has a very high ceiling. I think there's positives to take, but I wouldn't say looking at this group, I feel like, it's a bulwark against both the rest of the teams in the league, the other forwards in the league. I guess Liam McKinnon isn't in the league anymore, so maybe we're marked safe from him, but against injuries and it's
All right. So what was your grade? I just want to make sure.
B minus.
B minus. I mean, that's not too bad.
It's not too bad, but
they turned into project a little late. I'll go B here as well. I think the thing about this group, the big concern, the two big concerns, and Matt, you brought it up, and so did you, Kate, about Simon. Like, it's really hard to ask him to be an Iron Man again for a third season in a row. Like, it's really tough. And then Maxie, not old age. Age is a thing. As crazy as Maxie is, how'd that be? We have heard great things about Grifton. Grafton. I'll get a pronunciation guide. And possibly at that left back spot. I think the thing about this is, I think having Clyde Cello for a full year, and we saw the difference that he had, so much so that I bought a jersey of his, is that like having a clear communicator back there really works well, right? And someone that can kind of be a little bit more of a ball progressor, and it can spot danger early, I think is a great thing back there. Simon seems to be, very secure in his role as well on that back line. So I think, like, if we can just gel that unit together, I think, like, a lot of the issues that we saw last year of the WTF moments of goals that we saw, I think if we can cut those in half, I think we'll be a lot better. And I think my nerves will be better as well. So moving on to midfield. So in this, I'll include Dakin in this one. But in midfield, of course, we got James Vaughn, Melvin, Pierre Luis, Andrew Richmond, Jonathan Canagua, Chandler Dwyer, I don't think James Suko is still here. Neil Sefrit, Hayden Anderson, Matt Boduk, and they have Bill Hart. This is from Transfermarkt. They have Bill Hart listed as an attacking midfielder. I would say he's more of a forward, so I'll move him to the forward spot. But those are our midfielders. What are your guys' thoughts on the midfield unit as a whole?
I don't know. I guess all of the positions feel like a mix of highs and lows. Like, you've got some players who you'd hope you can hang your hat on, and then the drop off feels pretty steep. I think obviously we're very much relying on our new German for creativity, but then when we actually saw him play, just based on his pedigree, the types of, the experience he has, but then he kind of looked like he was more of a box to box midfielder when we actually saw him. That's
the key thing. I think it is. I think besides name alone, I think a lot of people, when we saw him, we thought like, oh, he's the Neil replacement.
Yeah.
And the way how talking to Darren and talking to Mika, he's more so of like the Ethan replacement we were supposed to have. Like, he's the guy who gets the ball and gives it to the creative player so that they can. He's the assist to the assist guy.
Yeah. So it's just difficult. I said it last season. I think at this league, it's giving up a player, and that's the phrasing I'm going to use. It was the fumbling of a player like Neil Vignals, which is we didn't win or we didn't earn a result without him on the score sheet, either in a goal or assist last season. I don't see where that replacement is in this group. I think, we've got some pacey wingers, which is great. We've needed a player who maybe can take their player on the wing. That's great. But when you look at the middle of the park, like I don't know, maybe Darren has a plan, but also in the preseason, goals were not coming in left and right. We saw some really wonderful solo efforts from Landon Johnson, from Emi Trezagi. Like, so it's just difficult because Neil's creativity bailed us out a lot last season, and without a player coming in, there isn't a lot of creativity in this group. And so we have to hope that the setup is not reliant on creativity, but when you don't have a player who can make something happen on their own, I guess our forwards are going to have to do that. They're an experienced bunch, but yeah, I don't know. There's some good players, but I think I'm struggling to see how the pieces fit together.
And with all that, what's your grade?
C+.
C+. Okay.
Even worse than the defender. Sorry.
All right, Matt. What about you, my man?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of what Kate said, has merit, to it. I think this is a group that industry is going to be, the big word here, but I think the success of it's going to go as far as Neil Soyford takes them, because I mean, let's look at probably some of our top guys in there are Barnathan, right? He's borderline midfielder, more of a defender than anything else. You got Chandler, right? If he's not heading the ball,
we're tapping it in from 6 yards out.
Right. We've seen him for a few years. He's a hustle, sort of guy. He's not a flair player. You got Vaughn, who is, even more of, just, kind of a, destroyer, brute type, in the midfield. Those are probably the three more experienced ones. I guess you might see, Kanagwa in there, but from everything I understand is he's a defender by trade for the most part, as well. So I think this group's going to be a lot of muck, the game up, make sure that, teams aren't able to play pretty against us, and rely on Maxie and Simon getting up the wings, providing, different service, getting connected with, the wing players that way. And hopefully Niels is able to help facilitate, all of that. So unless the plan is to actually, drop Bill Hart back into more of, the classic midfield spot, I don't see where, the possession, I don't see where the style, the pretty style, is coming from. Like the style is going to be there. The style is going to be industry, wreck some fools in the midfield and make it miserable to play against us.
Yeah.
Right.
So if it goes well, I think it could be a B plus quality, of a wrecking ball midfield. But if we need anything out of them, offensively, I think that's like C minus level.
All right. So what you giving me, man? Are we going C plus?
What's the difference? You said B plus versus C plus. So was that a B minus?
And I said B plus. If things are in a good place, C minus. If we're having to actually create something, what is it? Plus, C plus, sure.
C plus. All right. So maybe I'm a little bit more positive on the midfield. Not so much. I do agree with you, Matt. I think it's a midfield that is built out of like bruisers and like hard workers. I don't see the creativeness in it. Now, if you add Bill Hart to the midfield, then yeah, I think that's creative, G. But just having one creator, I think, is tough. I think the biggest issue for me last year is like this team just struggled defensively. So I'm cool with having like those bruisers and those guys that are like hard workers and not just getting like dragged across the field. Because Kate, what was your famous line about last year about the team? Like these players are great technically, but they're just tiny. Just getting beat up. So maybe so. Like adding some girth to the midfield might help. I'm excited to see
girth is a good word for it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Nils and Hayden can add to this team. So I mean, I'll give them a B minus. I think, Matt, to your point, like if we're asking them to be like the main creative force in this team, it's going to be tough. Just being honest with you, but like if we're asking them to intercept the ball, clog up, chances in the middle, stuff like that, like asking them to do what they're probably great at doing. But yeah, I think it'll be a successful midfield. So I'll give them a B minus. Like I think like Darren addressed. I think Darren and the technical staff addressed the spots that they needed to. Obviously, I mean, leaving Neil is a big hole, but like you needed to fix the CDM spot. You needed to find someone that could, be a box to box midfielder.
Yeah, they got one of those, but
you lost a creator. That's what I'm saying. Like that was the hard part, but
yeah,
it's like in League One.
But there isn't a Neil Vignal's replacement in the league.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's hard to find one of those.
Yeah, he's one of the worst teams in the league, and he still finished in the second 11. Like he basically dragged himself individually to like all league honors. Like there is no Neil Vignal's replacement.
This is gonna be a hot take. He didn't deserve it either year. His stats got inflated because he took all the corner kicks and all the free kicks, and that's the one thing we're good at is finishing those.
Yeah, but you don't finish bad service. Like if the service is bad, like
don't finish bad service.
There's a reason James Ward-Prowse has the career he has, and it's because he's the best set piece taker in world football. That's not a skill you can discount.
He's not making Premier League first 11 teams or anything. He plays for garbage teams.
He's not because but Neil Vignal still can, despite the fact that other teams are constructing better team goals, that are getting better results. The fact that his set piece placement is good enough to individually put him over hundreds of other players in this league. Like
so Neil Vignal is like Chris Paul. He's like Chris Paul.
Well, it's just like it's.
I've never seen him hit a guy in the balls.
That we see. No, I mean that's true. Like it's hard to replace a guy like that. And back to your point, like yes, Dill's stats might have been inflated, but because he was delivering it. But if he's the best one delivering it, then hey,
he could. The guys who couldn't score anywhere else on the field could finish when Neil put the ball like on a platter. He put it into a position where. No offense to Chandler O'Dwyer, but Chandler O'Dwyer was our top goal scorer. Like that is.
Look at Kate turning on her boy in this podcast.
Yeah. Just turning on him.
Say I'm biased, but when you have players who've never scored more than 2 goals in a season, are all of a sudden the top scorer in your team from the service from a single player, like that service is better than any other player in the league. Is not creating opportunities like that. It's like to me, it's just like I just think it's one of the worst fumbles I've seen from a football club to have a player who essentially has no replacement in your league and to let him go like that without a single plan. There is no plan. There is no Neil Vignal's replacement in the league. Every other team in this league was laughing at us for the fact that we let that player go. Essentially,
they can laugh all they want to. We'll still beat their asses. But like one, money talks. So if a team is offering you like double, then think about it. You go down to Spokane.
But he didn't leave for an offer. He left and then was given an offer. The leaving came first. He was not tempted away by a competitive offer at another club. It took him how long? He was just announced by Spokane, a week and a half ago? The offseason started
we know
in November.
better that when guys are announced has nothing to do with when they actually signed.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Let me ask you this.
Spoke to him. I don't know if you spoke to him. He did not have a club. He did not have a club at the end of season event. There was no. He was not. He did not have a club.
Yeah, true. Let me ask you this real quick. Since we're talking about it, do you think this team is set up more for the system to create the chances versus one individual player? Because the last 2 years, it's been one individual player creates. But and look, we've seen the pros and cons of that, right? Like, we've seen the magical moments of it, like the Henny Darby last year. great magical moment, but we've also seen the reverses of it when we play the likes of Union Omaha and stuff like that, where they can target out one player versus having the system create the chances and whatnot is a little bit less vulnerable. But on the flip side of that, the negative to that is the system might not always work.
The system might not work at all.
I mean, the system's not been radically different the whole time Darren's been here. He's coach really likes to be able to get fullbacks pushed up wide. We've gone through, left back, Scotty Thompson, Monty, Stu, Maxie. I'm forgetting somebody, Hornsby. Left backs that fly up, the pitch. Same thing with right back. We've had Aintley out there. We had your boy Calvo, out there who the idea was to get forward. Simon, who's definitely developed that over the years. So I don't think it's necessarily been change the system. I think it's a matter of is the personnel available to be able to execute that, and sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Like, and that's the beauty of it. We'll see. Yeah. So
I mean, it is notable that in 2022 we did have 2 creative players contributing, Johnny Bolaños and Neil Vignoles, as well as those workhorse box-to-box midfielders. The both parts were there. You take that second creative player out of the equation and you get 2023, which is nothing at all.
Yeah, 2023 is different. Yeah, something happened in Union Omaha that we don't know about. We are still trying to figure out to this day.
We don't need to get too far in the weeds because eventually Kate's going to vanish here. So
yeah, let's talk
about the attack instead.
All right, so let's go into the attack. So the attacking players we got are Aiden Billhart, Landon Johnson, and Emiliano Terzaghi. You still have Tony Pineda on here. I don't understand why. Darwin Espinal, Josh Kirkland, and Nick with the best last name, Tacos. Which, by the way, whoever are doing tacos at the stadium, please have a taco named after him. He's admitted to college, give him the NIL deal. I'm just saying. It's there. But yeah, what Matt?
I would probably put Hayden in that group too. Realistically, okay. I think he's more likely to play one of those positions than one of our traditional midfield positions.
Okay. So Hayden Anderson. Yeah. All right. Another tweener. There's a few tweeners in this team. There's a few tweeners.
I'd give this group an A-. I think of all this, I would say there isn't like Landon Johnson scored a gorgeous goal at the last home
preseason game. That cutback. That was nice. Yeah, that was nice.
Beautiful. Upper 90 curler. There isn't a player in this group that I would say offers nothing. And that's a little harsh to put on like academy kids and like sort of backups, but like there are fewer untested, unknown quantities in this group, and some key additions with resumes that show that they could add to this team, which across the group as a whole. So you have to hope they're going to deliver on that. We have no way of knowing. We have no way of predicting that because, again, they did score a lot of goals in preseason. But, like, on paper, this is the group that was strengthened the most and, like, doesn't necessarily have a enormous drop-off the way some of the other positions do.
Yeah. Because I think there is the drop-off. I think, if Bill Hart is healthy, you have, the clear, Darwin, Emmy, Bill Hart, for front line, and then I think it's a massive drop.
Okay.
for the second group, right? Like, I think guys like Anderson or Kirkland, it could be serviceable. Like I think this year needs to be the year that Landon makes the jump, a little bit.
I
like
agree.
We've seen flashes in 2023. Last year I think was an absolute busted year for him in every way possible. Like we need to see him be able to make contributions. That's not necessarily saying like break into the starting lineup, but be a
more assists he did.
Someone who actually makes an impact when you get on the field.
Yeah.
Right. Like even if it doesn't actually show up on the stat line, like are you positively impacting games? Because Haven't seen that yet. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
This is year 3 as a pro. Like, at a certain point, you're still young, but got to see the progress being made. Uh, so yeah, like otherwise, I think Kirkland, like, he's a good hustle guy, and hustle guys can have a spot in USL 1, right? But he's a hustle guy. I think Hayden's probably in that same general style, hustle guy. Uh, I'm not counting anything from you know the new academy kids. If something comes of them, great. If not, well, didn't really think anything would. But and then Darwin, like, he's a different kind of attacking player than we've had before. He's not a burner. He's not going to, just bust the wings or anything like that. But he can carry the ball. So he's probably the closest analog to what Vinyals had, but he's more of a forward attacking player than a midfielder in that regard. So how him, especially at the beginning of the year, how him and Emmy are able to connect, because that was the thing with Emmy last year. Like, when he came back, was he all the way back to his prior state? No, of course not. But you still see this in flash. But he was left on an island so often, And I don't care who you are, if you're stranded like that, you're not going to get so much done.
Well, especially since he and Chandler had such different profiles that the team was used to playing. Like, when you're used to playing with one type of striker and then you put in someone who has completely different profile and the team has chemistry around one, it's also hard to, Emmy's not the guy who's going to be in the box putting headers in. So he can, but that's not, the number one attribute you should be trying to exploit. So there also was that problem of like, okay, now we have to set him up differently than the guy who we've been playing with for 6 months.
Yeah, so I guess I'll give this group I'll be nice. I'll round up B+.
Okay.
Based on the strength of the presumed preferred top 3.
All right, so I'm gonna be the optimistic. I'm gonna give this group an A, just because of the fact that we have a suitable left winger and a suitable right winger.
Mm.
Well,
it's been
broken.
It's been a long time.
On paper.
Not politicalized. Because God, that's an issue. Did you say thank you? Which is so weird. But yeah, like seeing Darwin, God, just think like what he did against us in the U.S. Open Cup, and having that now in Richmond, and just the possibilities of him. My dream lineup is him on the left, Bill Hart on the right, Emmy in the middle, and just seeing that kind of work. It feels a lot more balanced. I would say that as well. Like, I would say maybe the last 2 years or so, it always felt like an imbalance. Definitely last year we was like, all right, we got Bill Hart, we got Emmy. I don't know who's on the left, right? And the years before that, like it was like we had left, we didn't know who was on the right. I think this is the first time Darren's had like 3 attackers that was like, all right, it feels balanced. And Matt, to your point, like if Emmy can get someone else that can help him out, like that's how you get the best out of Emmy. Because if it's just him up there by himself, it's not going to work. But if you get someone up close to Emmy, to help him out, kind of make the backline be worried about another option, I think that'd be better. So just on the strength of balancing out the front 3, I give it an A for that. So yeah, those are our grades for each attacking group, which is fun. We'll see. It'd be fun to come back to this at the midway and end point to see how our grades go. Be interesting.
Prove us wrong, please. This is a challenge. Please prove us wrong.
Yeah,
in the positive sense, please.
Yeah, in the positive sense. I don't want to be giving out D's and F's. So one thing that is great though, we will be providing a coaching show once a month. We'll have Coach Darren come on the show. So be on the lookout for that. That'll be his own separate podcast. So you'll still get your Monday show of us reviewing and talking about everything that's going on. And then you get Coach Sawaski coming on the pod once a month. So be on the lookout for that. But now we'll get into over and unders. So I got a few. It's not a lot, but we'll discuss these. So I'll start off with the first one. Over or under 50 goals for the season. I kind of did like a little soft poll of this on Instagram, which, by the way, go follow, like, share, and subscribe also on Instagram, Rivercity93. Yeah, you guys think the kickers score over 50 goals?
Just league, or are we kind of like Jaeger and Open Cup, or?
So I totaled them all together. I think last year the kickers scored just under 50 for Jaeger, Open Cup, and league. I think they scored like 47, 48, somewhere around there last year.
I'm gonna go under.
What do we have, like 35 definite games? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go under. Just based on what we've seen, ideally we're gonna be able to get results, but I'm not necessarily looking at this team and being like, yeah, there's gonna be some 4 or 5 goal blowouts, or they're really gonna like rack up a good goal difference. Like I can see it being relatively narrow results over the course of the campaign. And obviously not gonna win them all, probably won't even score them all, unfortunately.
Yeah. I'll go over. I think that the early round Open Cup games, and there might be a team or two in the league that are pretty dire this year, will help us get over the line a little bit. So over, but just barely. I won't be surprised if I'm wrong on this one.
Okay. All right, so moving on, we got clean sheets. So last year,
wait, what about yours? Did you say?
Oh, no, I didn't say mine. I'll go over. I don't think it's a lot, though.
You just gave the attack an A. Of course, you have to go over.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to. If we wrong, I go under. I go over. But I don't think it's a lot. It might be like 51, 52. But yeah, that's my over. Clean sheet. So last year, this team struggled to keep clean sheets until Mr. Cloudy Chella and Jay Stedden came into this defense. I put it at 7. I think last year we were right at 3. I think, no, 4. You were right at 4. So 7 might be a little high, but I'll start.
I'm gonna go over.
You gonna go over?
I'm gonna go over 7 over the course of 35 games. I think that should be what they aim for.
Okay.
Because again, I don't think they're gonna be blowing teams out. Like we need you. You're never gonna get across the line if you don't have a couple 1-0 wins in there. Like you need to be able to keep a clean sheet and eke out a result. Like that's kind of what tests the mettle of any successful squad. So I would hope that even with some narrow score line, they're able to keep a few more clean sheets. It doesn't have to be every match, but if you can't keep a clean sheet, that's a terrible sign. So 7 should be the minimum.
Okay.
Yeah. First rule is set in line sports betting. You got to set them on the 0.5, so that way you get either side of that.
See, you can tell I'm not a sports bettor. I love my money too much.
Yeah, I'll go over as well. I mean, again, we've talked about when we were talking about the midfield. This team is set up to be a wrecking crew, so probably need to be able to get to at least 7 clean sheets if.
Yeah.
Otherwise, things probably aren't working how they're supposed to.
Yeah, I'm gonna over this as well. I just think it's a better defensive unit maybe than last year. I think last year we were all down on the defensive units. It felt like at various points. So hopefully that changes and we can talk about this defensive unit more positively. Hopefully, please give us hope. So now, next one is 700 minutes for the Baby Roos for 2025. So, okay, and this is for the class of 2025. So this new group, so I'm not including Griffin or Beckett because now they're professionals. I'm not including them. So guys that are those academy players. By the way, last year, I was specific predictions really because of Griffin Garnett.
Right, who you never spoke his name before the season started.
No.
Yeah.
I think I won that within like the first maybe month and a half. And I was like, oh, I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go under because I would hope that this group is not relied on as heavily and that they are able to get some meaningful minutes. But I'm going to go under just because ideally we're not going to be forced into a similar situation. Hopefully they'll get a few minutes. Hopefully we'll have some secure results that they can get a run out, and it's not a Nick Landon situation of, okay, we're literally relying on you to try to get a result here. But I'm still going to go under. I think academy kids should not be getting enormous amount of minutes. It's helpful, it's useful, but that's the first team is not for developing the academy. It's for winning matches. So I would hope that we're not relying on them.
Okay, are we counting Open Cup stuff in this?
Yes.
Okay, that'll change things up a little.
Well,
bit.
how many matches in the Open Cup do you think we're actually going to play?
First one is Virginia Dream coming up.
Yeah, the first one's Virginia Dream, and it's sandwiched between 2 Saturday games.
Well, but it's also, we're still very early in the season, and a lot of chemistry needs to be developed. But I wouldn't mind.
Oh no, I'm not saying it's going to be like full on like all of them, but I think there's a spot, for more opportunities.
Yeah.
Not 700, huh? That's basically like 8 games worth of. I'm going to go over. I think we're going to see most of it come out of Brendan this year because he can play both outside back spots. Don't have a ton of cover. There we've seen him with the 20s in the past. Look pretty decent. I don't feel great about this prediction, but also we're just green on everything and can't have that. So I'll take the over on this one.
All right. So you're an over. I'm gonna go over as well, and I think Grafton is going to get the majority of these minutes. I think he'll be the one. Because if he's going to be the deputy to Maxey at left back, I think there's become a few games where he's going to have to play in for Maxey and whatnot. Yeah, I'll go over on this one. All right. This should be a fun one. Top scorer will have more than 10 goals this year.
How many goals did Chandler have last season? Oh, that was across all competitions. I think it was like 9.
Yeah, he was at 9 last year.
Okay, I'm gonna go over because that context.
Is it over or just yes, no?
No, I'm gonna go over 10 goals. I'm gonna take the over on our top scorer having 10 goals, 10.5 goals, because if our top scorer, who is not a natural goal scorer, got 9, I would hope that with Emmy back.
Yeah, Emmy only had, I think, 3 last year, but he was in and out of the lineman for like
40 minutes total. So, I'm not surprised, but
yeah,
I would hope that if he's fully healthy and he's actually the target man like he's supposed to.
Yeah, Emmy's getting to double digits this year.
He better. No offense to Mr. Terzaghi, but please.
please be back to how you were. Yeah, I think, let's see if I can pull it up real quick. Yeah, last year he had 3, but he only played in like 18 games. And that wasn't a lot. All right. So, Matt, you said you're going over?
Yeah, he's hitting at least 10.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go over this as well. Let me ask you this real quick, so I'll just throw this one out there. Do we have another scorer that is at least over 5 goals? So last year we only had 2 over. I think we only had 2 over 5 last year. That was Bill Harder.
I feel good about Darwin getting like 6, 7, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. If we turn into a functioning football team again, we should have more. We should have 1 goal scorer over 10. We should have more than 1 over 5.
Yeah.
I
don't think it's realistic to think Chandler's going to be able to replicate. Like he'll probably still be able to get
yeah,
maybe
the odd
4 or
one off the
5.
set piece, yeah.
But I think that I'm happy to be wrong. Hopefully that will be it was an aberration last year of getting 9 or 10 goals almost all off of corners or free kicks.
I would love that. Yeah. I think that. I hope we have more spread out goals this year. Just not relying on one person. As much as I love Emmy having double digit goals and all that stuff, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But I hope we're a little bit more balanced in the attack. Like we're able to spread out the goals so the defense is like, all right, shut him down. That's it for the kickers. Almost a little bit more spread out.
Yeah, and I would hope that it doesn't feel like reliance in general, in that like if one player doesn't score, like that's it. Like it's actually like our attack is fluid, free flowing, and they set each other up. So it's not like a sense of like, well, yeah, if this player's marked out, we're not reliant on anyone, but that they can actually create goals across the attack relatively consistently.
Sure. All right, so let me ask you this. The next one I got coming up, well, I mean, that's it for over and under, so it wasn't a lot, but how will the kickers finish in each of the in each of the competitions? So for listeners didn't know, this year we were in 3 competitions. Of course, the league. You have the league, you have the Jägermeister Cup, which is a little bit different format. Matt, correct me if I'm wrong. It's a group of 8, but you only play 4 teams in that.
I think it's group of 6.
Group of 6. You play 4 teams in that group. Out of that group of 6, the top team based on points advances to the next round, and then out of all the groups, the team with the most goal scorers advances. Right?
Yeah, I think the top 2. Yeah, because I think there's 6 groups. I don't really care about the other groups, so I didn't really pay that close of attention.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure I was right on that stuff. So we'll start out with the league because that's the part that gets you a star. So where do you guys think we finished in the league?
It's hard for me to be optimistic.
Ah!
There was such a big drop off between the top 7 and that final playoff spot. I don't know if that's going to be true again, especially now that there's like net 3 new teams in the league. So as ridiculous as the number of playoff spots were last season, it's a bit more balanced this season. And that drop off made that eighth place finish a lot more attainable for a lot more teams.
Hey, don't forget, we were in play to get 7th. until the ref gave Dak a red card.
Yeah.
And then we were like, all right, we're in already. Just pack it up and get up out of here.
But I'm not entirely sure. I guess I could see us competing for the 7th or 8th place. I think that, to me, that feels like what we should be competing for. Obviously, if they're really strong out of the gate, maybe I'd reevaluate. But as of now, it still feels like competing for those final playoff spaces down to the wire.
So 7th or 8th, no home playoff game once again. Okay.
Hard to see.
All right. Matt?
Yeah, I think if everything goes well, you could see the team, around 6th, maybe, flirting with 5th. I think if things go poorly, we're down there with, 13th, 14th place area. Right now, if I had to guess, I feel like safe money is probably like 9th, unfortunately.
Okay, so you gave me like 3 different positions, so you're going 9th.
Yeah, I gave you best case, worst case, what I think will happen.
Okay. All right, there we go. Just want to make sure. All right, best case? I don't know. What I feel like this kicker team is, based on everything that we see, how I think this team will be, what I'm expecting. I'm going to go 5th.
Ooh. Okay, Mr. Positive.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being weirdly optimistic. And this is how it starts every year. And then I slowly get into a weird depression about this team that lets me down. I'm going to go 5th just because I think this team will be better defensively. And I think it'll be better in the attack and be more spread out the goals. So it's weird. It's funny that none of us have a home playoff game at all.
No.
As it stands right now. So hopefully they prove us wrong in the positive and, they get a home playoff game, which would be great. Yeah, I mean, they can still get one with 5th, but they need something to go that way. U.S. Open Cup. So U.S. Open Cup starts off next Wednesday against Virginia Dream. Former Richmond Kickers player Lucas Mendez is the owner of that team there. How far do you think the Kickers go in the Cup this year?
I think they play 2 matches, lose in the third. Win 2 matches, lose in the third. But I don't know who the second round draw will end up being. If it's like ideally, it would be another non.
I think that's a fair way to do it. How many games do you think the Kickers will win?
Yeah,
so you're saying 2?
I'd say 2.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll roll Virginia Dream. I'm not worried about that at all. I think they go out the second that they play, a championship or MLS, team.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think the way the draws, set up that it's possible that could happen in match 2. I'm not positive, about that, but I think it's possible. So they're not getting past the third game. I'll say that for sure, but depends how luck breaks for us. We've gotten a little fortunate in some of these second games in recent years that we've played some.
Why'd those Bobcats have to fold?
So Matt, you got it down to 1 win.
Yeah, just be different. I'll do that.
All right. You know what? F it. I'm gonna be very different. I think we'll get 3. I'll roll it with 3.
Say that.
Yeah, I mean, look, if this team is going to rely on being a cup team, and I mean, there's no way how to say it. I think under Darren, I think the farthest we've gotten was, I think his second year. I gotta go back and double check.
Second year, the Cup wasn't playing.
Was it played 2020? Oh, right.
Or 21.
21, so then 22.
Yeah, that's 22 is Charlotte, 23 is DC, 24 is Loudoun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, let me roll back that 3. I'll go 2. I think we get 2 wins. I think the last 2 years he's gotten at least 2 wins.
Yeah, but those damn Bobcats folded, so
yeah. So yeah, I'll go 2 wins.
Also, I am going to pop off now because we are 2 awards away from. We're 1 award away from Best Picture. Best Actress is next, and I do have.
All right, real quick, just give me your. Well, we're about to wrap up anyway, but just real quick.
Oh yeah, well, I was about to say, I truly have paid 0 attention to what the Jaeger Cup is going to look like this season, and I don't know anything about the other teams. I don't pay attention to the championship at all, so I don't know if those teams are good. So I actually have no clue what the Jaeger. It feels like such a roll of the dice. Like it feels like such an experiment. They're going to have these 2 teams. Nobody knows are people going to take it seriously? Like who's going to decide?
Nobody knows. It's such a great allegory for Jaeger in general.
Yeah.
Involve Jaeger.
I don't even feel qualified to even know what the achievement goal is in the Jaeger Cup because I also don't think they're going to be championship teams to begin with. So finish. Maybe score more goals than they did last season. Is that still the tiebreaker? I don't really understand. I think it's fun, but I really feel like the tournament itself doesn't really know, and teams don't really know what they should be doing in that tournament.
I'm gonna just put you down for shrugs.
I'm putting myself down for shrugs because I really don't.
All right. Well, okay. We'll see you next week. Have fun watching the Oscars. See you, homie.
Yes. Everyone hope for a Conclave win. Everyone say, I hope Conclave wins. Conclave Hive. All right. Bye, everybody.
Okay. All right. So, Matt, based on all this, where do you think we finish in the U.S. Open Cup, USL Jägermeister Cup?
And we're not getting out of the group. I don't know how seriously championship teams are going to take it or not, but it's hard for me to believe at least one of Louisville, or North Carolina isn't going to take it at least semi-seriously.
Yeah.
And we got to play both of them. And our old friend Lexington is in there. Who knows? Just like last year, who the hell knows what that's going to look like? Yeah. But another potential barrier there. Loudoun's in our group. We've got Charlotte in our group. They're the other League One team. But I just cannot see a scenario where we're getting out of that group, and there's going to be some group somewhere where a couple teams are able to get fat off of teams just punting all together and run up the score. to get the tiebreaker. So there'll be 4 games to watch.
Yeah. I don't think we're gonna do so well in the Jägermeister just because of the litany of teams that we're playing against. Like you're playing against North Carolina. We know how we did against them in League One. So only with them now with the championship budget, championship 11 players like Ethan Conway and whatnot, is it going to be fun? We know how good Louisville is. Charlotte, but they're our last game of the Jägermeister, and then Lexington, they're a much improved roster from what I'm hearing and seeing. So, at best, I want at least one win in the Jägermeister Cup. I think one win and one penalty. I think that you probably get 2 losses. And if they're early on, like just go ahead and give those youth players some minutes.
There you go.
Call it a day. They'll fill it up the next year there. So yeah. All right. So last thing before we'll preview South Georgia Tormenta. The season goes well if. So Matt, for you, what would need to go right for the season?
I think the guys got to stay healthy. We've mentioned that a few times. Like, I don't believe in the bench yet. I think we've got some capable first team players, but suspensions start coming in for card accumulation. A little knock here, a knock there. I mean, it could really cause a lot of problems, I think, for this group. So hopefully they can stay healthy. I think a big piece of it is, can Darwin translate, from NISA over to USL? Like, we've seen plenty of other players do it. So there's no reason to think he can't. But if that signing doesn't work out, like I don't see how this season works out, really. And same thing with the Niels, thing. Like, we didn't bring in that much actual new talent, this year. Like, so, the guys they did bring in, they've got to hit, right? Like, I don't think there's any way around that. And yeah, some of the younger guys might, take a step up and, improve, but like, this team wasn't that good last year. Like, they got in the playoffs, but they got in by almost skin of their teeth, and some of that was because the bottom of the league last year was straight trash, right? So it's got to be a step up because some of these teams have upped their game. They're throwing some cash around, and the Kickers can't do that. So they've got to make the most of their impact signings, and Darwin and Niels are there's 2 real impact signings.
Yeah. I think for me, the season goes well if one, the defense limits the mistakes. Like, doesn't we saw it last year? The defense had mistakes that led to goals. If we could cut out a lot of that, I think you see a dramatic improvement. I think things are going well there. Also, too, like if we get more support for Emmy in terms of scoring and just overall creativeness, I think we talked about it at length. This team doesn't have this one sole creator around it, so you need other parts around it to be functioning and working well. I think the season goes horribly wrong if you get like big injuries to CDM and striker. I think the season will kind of be falling apart at that point.
I mean, I think they could probably absorb like a defensive mid because, yeah, Dak's probably the best of the bunch, but Chandler, Vaughn, there's guys who can do a job.
Yeah, but doing a job is much better, is different than being like, this is your specialty.
Sure,
like,
sure, but I feel like
like
if there's any position where you might be able to absorb an injury, it might be there.
Okay. So yeah, let's go ahead. Let's move into our preview tournament. We won't take long because we're already running like close to an hour and a half. But I promise, not every pod is going to be an hour and a half. But South Georgia Tormenta, we have them on Friday. So it's not Saturday, it's on Friday. They moved it up because they wanted more fans to be there, I guess.
Well.
Yeah. My bad. I think the key addition for this South Georgia team is they got Austin Pack, probably one of the top 3 goalkeepers in this league. They were able to get him. They got rid of a lot of other guys. So it's a whole squad overhaul for the most part there. Let me toss it to you this way, Matt. Like, one, what do the Kickers need to do to come away with 3 points? And what is your ideal scenario for this opening day fixture?
So, following tradition, we're going to lead off with it's Tormenta. Right.
I feel like that's becoming like the your version of guys, it's Spurs.
Yeah, I mean it's Tormenta. This team has literally never lost in that new Tormenta stadium. Yeah, they go down there and do the business. To them. Sometimes they steal their soul with a last second goal to equalize. Sometimes they just put them to the sword and blow them out. Either way, they come out with results. So, I expect the same sort of thing, and I think this is going to be the first bellwether of the season. Like Tormenta's another team with a lot of turnover. Looking at the USL One webpage, granted, who knows how accurate it is? They only got 17 guys listed right now, on their roster. Yeah, Pac's good. Vivas was a good striker last year. But I mean, we have our own good players, and if this is a team that we're struggling against, I don't think that's going to be a good sign for the season. Like realistically, you look at this first month, there's a lot of opportunity for the Kickers to be able to get off on the right foot. Like I don't think Charlotte's going to be anywhere near as good as they were last year. You got the Open Cup game, home opener against Alta. It's set up for Richmond to get off to a hot start, and I expect that coming out of match day 1 down in Georgia. I think we see and we get on the board. I think we get our first real look at Darwin, and it's going to be a good Friday night.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I think there's a possibility definitely for the Kickers to win for 3 points. I think you will see some early signs of gelling between the teams. So I think ideally I'm cool with getting a point on the road here. Because I think it's still going to be a lot of a learning curve with this team. So I'm not confident to say 3 points yet. I think the biggest thing I want to see is, I've been talking about it a lot, is really I just want to see the back line and the goalkeeper have good communication. Like if I see the back line, the goalkeeper sniffing out fires, putting them out, not putting us under massive waves of pressure, I feel good about that. I feel like the attack is going to take a little while to gel just with the new pieces there. But if I see some threatening, moments, I'll be cool with that as well. Which, by the way, there is a watch party. I think it's at Triple Crossing, if I'm not mistaken. The watch party being held at. So yeah, so I see that. Going on there. I'm trying to think, Matt. Is there anything that I'm forgetting? Yeah, I think about it. All right. Let me ask you this. Last thing before we wrap up. When do you think is a fair point for us to start making our full judgments on the team? Because I was thinking about this today, and years past I said 10 games. I feel like after maybe 5 games, I'm able to have a much better view of what this team is going to look like.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think I kind of made mention of this. I think March is going to tell us a lot. We got open up Tormenta, Charlotte, Alta. You got that Virginia Dream game, and you got a Madison game. Who they're probably going to be good, right?
Yeah.
So winnable games and a measuring stick, sort of game, in there. I think, we're going to have a really good idea real fast of what the season's, going to look like just based off of the types of teams that we're playing early on.
Yeah. And this team doesn't leave the time zone either. So that's another key thing. Like, they all are on the East Coast. So they don't leave the time zone at all. So don't have to worry too much about that. And, we got it wrong. The Virginia Dream game is the 19th. So 2 away games, then we come back, U.S. Open Cup, and then AVLs are there. So we'll see how that all plays out. Yeah, Matt, anything else for you before we wrap up?
No, it's always a good thing when the new season comes around because that means we're going to, watch the kickers, play a lot over the next, 7-8 months or so.
Yeah.
So, even bad, kicker soccer is better than no kicker soccer, but hopefully this is going to be a good addition of the team, a group that's going to give us, some fun things to talk about, over the coming months.
Yeah, hopefully so. I'd rather talk about good kicker soccer there. So, once again, folks, we just want to say thank you for taking the time of your day for listening to our show. Because without you, we couldn't do this. If you see us in stadium or at the watch parties or you're going down to Charlotte, let us know. If you want to email us questions, you can email us at 93rivercity at gmail.com. It's not rivercity93 at gmail.com. 93rivercity at gmail.com. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And as always, be nice. Just be nice to somebody out there. You never know how they can change somebody's day. So with that being said, for Matt, for Kate, she's off watching the Oscars. For Shanier, for myself, we will holler at you guys next time. Be safe and be easy.